All right, we get to our top story this morning. In Minneapolis, 2 children, 8 and 10, were killed yesterday when a shooter opened fire during a morning mass at Annunciation Catholic Church. 17 other people, including 14 children and 3 adults in their 80s, were injured. The children are students at the school and were attending an all-school mass, an annual tradition for the new academic year, which began on Monday. Minneapolis police say the shooter aimed directly at the children in the pews through the church's stained glass windows. Those inside the church at the time of the shooting say the gunfire lasted about 2 minutes. A 10-year-old fifth grader gave a first-hand account of what he saw and said his life was saved by the heroic actions of a friend.
How old are you?
I'm 10.
What grade are you in?
I'm in 5th.
Can you talk a little bit about what you saw today?
Well, it was like shots fired, and then we kind of like got under the pews. It kind of, they shot through the stained glass windows, I think, and it was really scary.
When you heard the shots, what went through your head?
I was like, the first one, I was like, what is that? I thought it was just something, and then when I heard it again, I just ran under the pew, and then I covered my head. My friend Victor, saved me, though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit.
Your friend laid on top of you?
Yeah, and he got hit.
Is this something that you've practiced before?
Yeah, we practice it every month, or I don't know, but yeah, we've never practiced it in the church though.
So that's Weston, a 10-year-old fifth grader, talking matter-of-factly about his friend Victor diving on top of him, taking a bullet and saving his life. And to Mike's point about how this has just been normalized as part of our culture, that kid is just speaking very matter-of-factly, 10 years old, about what happened inside a church pew, and talking about the drills that we all know from our own children that are just a part of their life. We used to have the fire drills, and you go, oh, somebody the alarm, you walk outside, you go back inside. They have active shooter drills. They now have slogans like run, hide, fight, telling 10-year-olds to run at first, then hide. And if you're confronted with a shooter, fight, throw a chair at them, do whatever you can. This is just a normal part of their lives now.
And it's just obscene. I mean, you're right. That young boy was talking very matter-of-factly about something that he's used to. They asked the question, have you ever done this before in school? I mean, before. He goes, yeah, we practiced in school, but not in church. And this is normal? No, there's nothing normal about this, and it's not a great mystery. It's just not a great mystery. I mean, we have laws that are on the book that continue to allow crackpots to go into gun stores, get high-powered rifles, and go and shoot up schools, go shoot up churches, go shoot up country music concerts, and it seems to me Washington is far too comfortable doing that, letting that happen, and all these excuses and all the calls for this, that, or the other. The kids were hoping and praying. So hope, pray, and act.
Yeah.
But Republicans won't do that third part in Congress. They just won't do the third part.
And they'll tell you now is not the time to talk about it. Joining us live
But it keeps happening. It keeps happening. I mean, how many mass shootings do we have? It keeps happening where crackpots get a hold of a gun and they have more power in their hand, like in Uvalde, than police officers do outside. Is that really what they want?
This is an American problem. NBC News senior national correspondent Jay Gray joins us live from Minneapolis with more. Jay, what more details can you tell us?
Good morning, guys. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this is the church where it all took place, just behind us here. Still an active investigation going on, still locked down by police. And so many in this neighborhood. This church, this Catholic school and church, really the anchor of an established neighborhood here. And so many here asking the same questions and saying the same things that you're voicing this morning. We've already seen early in the morning hours here, people just staring at the church, trying to understand how this could happen again, and now in their community. Kids gunned down in the pew of a church, the church just behind us here. What we are learning is that the federal agents also involved in this investigation, obviously the FBI looking at this as a potential hate crime or domestic terrorism. And so they are saying this is really just the beginning, guys, of what's going to be a long and a very drawn out investigation trying to figure out how and why it all happened.
All right, NBC's Jay Gray reporting live
Thank
this
you,
morning
Jay.
from Minneapolis. Thank you so much. You know, Rev, on the front of the New York Post, they say demonic, and then it's transgender maniac shoots up Catholic school. You know, they could very easily say time and time again, straight white maniac shoots up Catholic
Right.
school, or shoots up country music concert, or shoots up this, or shoots up that. I mean, I suppose some people try to distract from the ongoing mass slaughters that are going on of our children in schools and churches and across the country, of people that go to country music concerts, of people who are sitting in pews at churches, at Baptist churches. And I mean, we could go on and on and on. So again, I suppose they can focus on whether it was transgender or straight white male or whatever it was. The fact is, this is happening too much. We keep saying this is happening too much, and people will say, who know that it's happening too much. Oh, we can't talk about it. Right? Well, when do you talk about it? When in the world do you talk about it? Like, for instance, last night, Kyiv got absolutely demolished by the Russians. When should we talk about that?
Right.
Next week? No, we need to talk about it now.
Blame it all on Joe Biden.
And I think that is that we're reaping. The Bible says that a man sows, he shall also reap. We're reaping that we have sowed an indifference and, maybe a few hours of outrage, and then we go on with our lives without correcting what's going on.
Right.
We understand this shooter had writings against blacks, had writings against Jews, even writing against Donald Trump. None of that defines the fact that someone this sick, that on the first day of school doing mass, they weren't even in class, they were in a religious practice, decides he's going to shoot innocent kids. And those of us that have children or grandchildren, that could have been any one of them. So rather than go on with our day, we need to stop and say, how do we stop this, and force Republicans and Democrats to deal with this? This is a civilization crisis in America, and we need to deal with it like that.
It is, and it hits people at home, and it does hit. I mean, people sending their children to school on the first day. We have a good family friend who was tearing up on the first day about sending their daughter to kindergarten on the first day. And a lot of the concern, a lot of the angst were all the stories about these mass shootings. Again, something can be done. It's the only time you see one political party go, nothing can be done. You can't do anything because this wouldn't have helped that shooting, that wouldn't have helped this shooting, that. And yet these shootings continue, whether it's in Nashville, whether it's here in Minneapolis, whether, again, it's in Texas,
Anywhere.
wherever it is, the mass shootings continue. And a lot of times it's far too easy for people who have mental illness to walk into a gun shop and get an AR-15 and have more power inside of a church or inside of a school in Uvalde than police officers outside just sitting there waiting. Marjorie Stoneman, Douglas, they're sitting outside waiting for the shootings to stop because they're overpowered by the single AR-15 that a madman got going in to a gun shop, a day or two before.
There's a couple of things here. There's a lot more than a couple of things going on here. But one item that is for sure is there are more guns in America, as the mayor of Minneapolis pointed out. There are more guns floating around the United States of America than there are people living in the United States of America. There's something truly warped about that idea. The other aspect that you just mentioned is we all think about taking our kids to school, holding their hands on their first day of school, but it's not just elementary schools. It's sending a kid off to college, wondering if they're going to be safe. It's having a son or a daughter who works and goes out the door every day to the office because of the prevalence of guns. Now, are you telling me that in this country, supposedly the most civilized, greatest country in the world, there's no doubt about that, that we can't do anything about this? We've lived with it for at least a quarter of a century, much longer than that. What is it about this issue that prevents people from doing the common sense thing?
By the way, it's not even the number of guns. It's the illegal guns. It's the ghost guns. It's the illegal transfer of guns. These people don't even want you to be able to monitor where AR-15s are being sold. There are people that can drive around, and they do drive around in neighborhoods, and they open up the back of their cars, and there are a lot of AR-15s and other weapons of war in the back of their cars, and they sell it. One gang to another gang, one person to another person, one mentally deranged person to another mentally deranged person, and instead they go, oh, my uncle just wanted to hand me a gun, and I would have to go through all of this. Yeah, maybe until we get our arms around the illegal transfer of guns. The fact that for most gun shootings, only 3-4% of those gun shootings are actually shot by the people who legally own the guns. Yeah, maybe we should do that.
And the shooter, the police tell us the shooter in this incident in Minneapolis had 3 guns, a rifle, a pistol, a shotgun, all purchased legally and all purchased recently. Police say they're also recovering more weapons at the home of the shooter. And we talk about warning signs. There now have been uncovered entire YouTube channels from this person expressing violent thoughts, a sketch, a map, because it's believed that the person attended the school, mother worked at the school, knew the building, had sketched out maps. So you have a person who has shown, at least to people they know, violence, and no one intervenes between that violence, those threats of violence, and the purchase of the gun. There just has to be a way to stop that person from having those guns.
Yeah.
And that's something Melania Trump's talking about this morning in a
Preemptive
post. She's talking about preemptive action. And that's what we need, preemptive action. You know, after
Among other
9/11, they
things.
said if you see something, say something. That's what she's talking about. If you see something, say something. Preemptive action, making it harder for 18-year-olds to walk into gun shops, get AR-15s. I mean, making it harder for people to get weapons of war until they are screened. We're not talking about making them illegal, though about 2/3 of Americans would be fine making military-style weapons illegal. That's not even what we're talking about now. But if you're going to sell a weapon of war to an 18 or 19 or 20 or 21-year-old, actually figure out, as the First Lady says, let's do some preemptive screening to make sure that we're not going to have a tragedy like this happening.